"You're coming with me," said the lonely rancher, his voice low but steady, as he stood in the doorway of the crumbling house. Rain dripped off the brim of his hat, and his shadow stretched across the floor where a woman lay cold around her 3 trembling daughters. Clara lifted her bruised face, unsure if she should fear him or thank him. In the dim light, she could barely make out his expression stern. Yes, but layered with something she hadn't seen in years. Human concern. Her husband's fury still echoed through the walls. The neighbors had heard the shouts, the breaking glass, the wails of children, but as always, no one stepped in. Because Clara, despite being gentle and hard-working, had failed her husband in the eyes of their small, harsh community. She had given birth to 3 girls, not the son he demanded. Tonight, he had snapped completely. But the rancher Elias Hart had heard everything. His land bordered theirs, and though he rarely spoke to anyone, he wasn't blind to cruelty. Clara struggled to sit up. Why? Why would you help us? Elias didn't answer with words at first. He simply stepped inside, wrapped his coat around her shoulders, then gently picked up the smallest girl. Because no one else will, he finally said. Because I'm not leaving 3 children in a house where screams are normal. Clara's chest tightened. For the first time in a long time, she felt the faintest spark of safety. He turned to her again. Get whatever you need. You're coming with me. She almost refused, fear, shame, confusion all choking her at once. But then her oldest daughter, Emma, reached for her hand. Mama, please, let's go. And Clara realized she had no strength left to fight alone. So she gathered a small bag of clothes, lifted her 2 younger daughters, and followed the quiet rancher into the night. Elias led them to a weathered truck parked near his fence. The rain had turned to mist, and the headlights glowed through it like lanterns guiding them out of darkness itself. During the drive, the girls fell asleep in her lap. Clara stared through the window, unable to stop the tears slipping down her bruised cheeks. She didn't know Elias well, just that he kept to himself since his wife died years ago. People whispered that grief ate him alive, that loneliness clung to him like dust on old boots. Yet here he was, saving her. When they reached his ranch, the porch light flickered on automatically, revealing a home that felt lived in but empty. Elias carried 1 child inside, then returned for the others. Clara hesitated at the doorstep, guilt washing over her. You don't have to do this, she whispered. He paused. I know, then he added, softer, but I also know what it's like to lose something precious. I won't stand by while someone destroys what he should have been grateful for. His words struck something deep within her, a truth she had buried long ago. The following days were gentle in a way Clara barely recognized. Elias fixed the girls' shoes, cooked simple meals, and allowed them to run around the fields like wildflowers freed from a storm. He never asked for anything, never raised his voice, never looked at her wounds with pity, only with quiet resolve. Still, Clara couldn't shake the question that hovered between them. Why us? She asked one morning while hanging laundry on his line. He looked out over the fields. Some people are handed heartbreak, he said. Doesn't mean we let it become our story's ending. She didn't expect kindness from a man who lived like a ghost in his own home. But the more time she spent with him, the more she saw the truth behind his loneliness. The empty photos on the mantel, the untouched rocking chair, the way he lingered in quiet rooms as if expecting a voice that would never return. He didn't rescue her because he needed company. He rescued her because he couldn't stand to watch someone suffer the kind of loss he already knew too well. A week passed before Clara's husband returned, furious, pounding on Elias's gate, shouting threats into the morning air. The girls huddled behind their mother, trembling. Clara felt the old fear crawl up her spine, until Elias stepped forward. You don't get near them again, he said calmly. Her husband spat curses, claiming his rights, his property, his pride. The argument grew louder, uglier, until Emma, the oldest girl, suddenly stepped forward. Papa, she said, voice shaking. We don't want to go back. Her small words hit him harder than any punch. He froze, stunned, perhaps for the first time realizing what his rage had cost him. But instead of apologizing, he turned and stormed away, leaving a cloud of dust and unspoken truths behind. Clara collapsed to her knees, overwhelmed. Elias knelt beside her, not touching, just sitting close enough for her to feel anchored. You're safe here, he said. All of you. Weeks turned into a rhythm, meal shared, chores done together, small moments of laughter blooming unexpectedly. The girls adored Elias, and he, though reserved, found himself smiling again. The weight he had carried for years seemed to lift each time a child tugged on his sleeve or asked him to teach them something new. But Clara was the one who changed the most. She learned to stand straighter, to speak without shrinking, to trust that gentleness wasn't temporary. She had lived so long in survival mode that she didn't recognize the feeling of being valued. One evening, as the girls chased fireflies near the barn, Clara approached Elias on the porch. "I thought I was broken," she whispered. "But you helped me remember I'm still alive." He didn't look at her at first. Instead, he watched the children laughing in the fading orange light. "They saved me too," he finally said. "All of you." Something unspoken passed between them, something quiet, patient, hopeful. Not romance, not expectation, but the beginning of healing. Months later, the ranch felt like a different place. Flowers bloomed where dust once settled. Laughter filled rooms that had sat silent for years. The house didn't feel empty anymore, it felt claimed, protected, shared. On a warm evening, with the sun setting in a ribbon of gold, Clara stood beside Elias at the fence line. "You changed our lives," she said. "I don't know how to repay that." "You did," he replied, "by giving this place a heartbeat again." Her eyes softened. "And you gave us a home." He looked at her then, truly looked at the strength she regained, the love she poured into her daughters, the courage she carried now like a banner. "Clara," he said quietly, echoing the words he spoke the night he saved her, "you're coming with me. For as long as you want to stay." She didn't hesitate this time. She reached for his hand, lacing her fingers with his. "We're already home," she whispered. And for the first time in years, Elias' heart felt something settle inside him, peace, purpose, and the simple joy of knowing that kindness, freely given, can change everything. It can even bring the lonely back to life.